अच्छा अच्छा ओके, इसको चेंज कर दीजिए, लगा दीजिए इसको भी, उधर तक कर दीजिए। हाँ ठीक है, ठीक है, ओके। गुड इवनिंग दोस्तों। Yeah, it's a great pleasure. Today is the third day. Honorable Sidbao ji, कान लगाने साहब, my dear friends, 3 दिन कैसे हो गए पता ही नहीं चला, right? So today is the conclusion day, which I was working for last 1 year. आप में से कितने लोग, how many of you have participated in the question answer round? Many of you, most of you, right? Some of you. The question is of why we get ill. If I am ill, what I can do so that I can get cured. Fastest, safest, and permanent cure. That is a basic question. That you can achieve only when you understand what is the problem at the very first place. Without understanding the problem, whatever may be the problem, we cannot find the solution. So today is a time of solution, but before that, I'll introduce you to the problem from a new perspective. From headache to heart attack, from common cold to cancer. It is easy to reverse it if you really understand what it is all about. So now you see, as I told you, about 300 years back, there was a collection of number of illness with which the human can die. At that time, maybe about 80, 81 disease was the total number. And then I told you, up to 1990, the collection went out to 8,000. And now maybe 10,000 or maybe more. But that is to confuse the mind, 8,000, 10,000. In simple way, man cannot die of 10,000 ways or 8,000 ways. There are simple process in the body. If we understand the process, we can help ourselves reverse it. Of course, someday we have to die, but why to die of illness? Why to die of pain? You see, the wild animal, they also die, but the pain is not there. They don't die of pain. They die either killed by other animal, killed by accident, and otherwise, when they are old, one day they die. So the peaceful death. So that is one thing which I think that the last part of the life should be a wonderful part. And here in India especially, you see, the last 10 years of the life, you spend all the money which you have saved in several years, isn't it? So, but after that also, are we able to get the health for which we have saved those money? So let's try to understand, to make your understanding easy and to make you understanding in a way that you can implement it when you are back. I have devised something what I call as the game of life, GOL. Do you have it with you right now? Okay. So this is a reference. When you are in a process of curing anybody, treating anybody, understanding the disease, deciding what should be the diet, what are the content. So this is the reference. And those who are watching me on YouTube or Facebook, those who are watching me live, for them, you can go to this my site, bishwarup.com/GOL, goal. And you can get the printout of this, and once you get the printout, then you are in track. It will be easy for you to understand this part of the training. There's a conclusion part. So coming straight to the point, medical science is in two parts. One is called observational study and one is called reductionist theory. Presently, whatever you know about medical science, mostly it is this one, reductionist theory. What is reductionist theory? I will just give one example to make you understand. For example, I take one supplement, Nutrilite omega-3 fatty acid. And it is good for health or bad for health, we have to find out. So what is reductionist theory? They give a patient or anybody this omega-3 for a few days, and they check their blood sugar, triglyceride, cholesterol, and if they see before giving this supplement it was high, and after getting it for 1 month, again they test, the cholesterol level come down, triglyceride come down, blood sugar come down. This means this is good or bad for the health? Right? So conventionally, okay, this is how we decide, medical science decide whether a thing is good or bad. Right? This is called reductionist theory. That is a lab analysis and the result based on some numbers. The result is based on not the person's health, how he's feeling, that is not considered. There is nothing like that. There is no questionnaire how you are feeling. Right? What is your energy level? There is nothing like that. There is only some numbers. This means the human body is all about some numbers. So this is called reductionist theory. That is, what was the number before and what was the number after. And on the basis of that, you come to some conclusion and accordingly you propagate. Now, what is observational study? What will happen if a person keeps on consuming this product for some years? Let's say 15 years. If for 15 years, about 2 lakh people, they keep on consuming that product, then what will happen? That is observing the people, trying not to test their blood sugar, etc., but observing the people, that is following up for many, many years. And the result says, British Medical Journal 2006, risk and benefit of omega-3 fatty fat and for mortality, cardiovascular disease and cancer. The result says if you keep on consuming this product for long, long time, your chances of dying of cancer, chances of dying of heart disease, your chance of dying early increases. So on one side, reductionist theory says it is good for it because the lab report is showing so. But on other side, observational study, it says that the people who are on this kind of product, they are dying early. They are more suffering from heart disease. They are more prone to cancer. They are fatter than other people. So as a consumer, you have both the result in your hand. Which one you think you should believe? You should adopt reductionist theory, observational study. Obviously, observation, because we are not interested in any particular number. I want to achieve 100 as blood sugar number. I am not interested in that. I want to achieve a perfect health. At every moment, I should feel good. I should be full of energy. I should be having no kind of no pain. I am able to sleep, and then it should be a wonderful sleep. If this is achievable, if I can feel that, then no matter what is the number, what is blood sugar, what is cholesterol, what is for that matter any other parameter. So, but here important thing is, let's say you are a pharmaceutical company, then observation study you will not favor because that will take long, long time. You cannot wait for a product to be launched after 15 years of watching some control group. You are in a hurry to launch it. For you as a company, it is more beneficial if you go by this reductionist theory rather than going by observation study, right? So for a company, this is good. For the consumer, this is good, right? So here we are the consumer. So this is good. So this means my strategy of reversing the disease is based on those studies which were done more or less on this theory, observational study, right? Here, my research work, I tried to apply law of physics in medical science. And if you can understand this, it will be easy for you. Law of physics in medical science. Law of physics, Newton's third law. In medical science, I used observation study on human body. What is Newton's third law? Every action is having equal and opposite reaction. So this one simple sentence, if you understand every illness and you understand how to cure it. As simple as that. Let's see, one by one. Loosely, I can fit law of physics, third law, in medical science in the human body. Action, jaundice. If you suffer from jaundice, reaction, you will not suffer from arthritis. For example, somebody is having severe arthritis in lot of pain, and suddenly he suffers from jaundice, arthritis will vanish. Interesting. And other way around also, right? So if somebody is suffering from arthritis, but he or she cannot bear the pain, so she has an option that you suffer from, you can choose jaundice. In that case, the arthritis will vanish. Right? So, and this means every action in the body is giving an equal and opposite reaction. And what is the controlling point in between them which controls both of them? And in this case, the example, it is cortisol, that is an hormone. So whenever something happens in the body, something else also happens in the body. Action, reaction. Then there is a mediator. In this case, it is cortisol. So this was discovered in 1940, and in 1950 for this discovery, Hench, a scientist, he got a Nobel Prize, 1950, right? So action, there is a reaction. For example, the action, as I told yesterday, if you suffer from asthma, intestinal cancer will start going away, right? So action, one disease, other disease is vanishing. Interesting. But here the important thing I want you to focus, that is the controlling factor. In this case, you know what is the controlling factor? A bacteria. Last example, the controlling factor was a hormone. Here, a bacteria, which controls, right? Which balances between the two. If it is less, causing asthma. If it is more, causing cancer, right? So this means if you don't want to have any of them, you have to balance. When the balance is out, every action will bring equal and opposite reaction. In this case, the mediator is a bacteria. In the previous case, the mediator was a hormone. So another example, viral attack. Action, suffering from viral disease, and the reaction, body is resistant to other viral attack. So rarely the person will suffer two viral attack. If you are suffering from, already you are suffering from dengue, you cannot suffer from H1N1. So body become resistant to other viral attack, right? So if you are suffering from one viral attack, you are protected, reaction, from rest of the viral attack. So action, the reaction. And the controlling factor here is immunity. So when the immunity loses the balance, you catch a disease, but since it has lost the balance, at the same time you got protected from something else. So this science, if you understand, then you understand how to balance it easily, right? So you have to understand if something bad happened in your body, something good must be happening there. But you don't want anything bad, that means you have to balance it. That is the third law of Newton's third law trying to apply in human body. So here the balancing factor was, the mediator was your immunity. So in the last example, the mediator was a bacteria. And the first example, the mediator was hormone. So there are three mediators which controls your health. Three mediators which controls your health. Your health depends on these three mediators. Now, how to control these three? Now you see, each corner represents one of the factor. One is immunity, other is hormone, and third is bacteria. If I interfere with one of them, for example, immunity, I interfere by giving some vaccination, the immunity goes down, but other two goes up. Action, reaction, equal and opposite reaction, right? If you try to interfere with one of them, the rest two will get disturbed. Action, reaction. So the most important thing is don't interfere, right? Whenever you are confused about, should I go for vaccination, should I take that antibiotics, should I take the drugs? Imagine this, the moment you interfere, the body loses the balance totally. Every action, equal and opposite reaction. So it is double loss. So the most important thing is don't interfere at all. Don't interfere at all. Whatever may be the disease at this moment, I heard you very carefully in these 2 days, especially in those 4 hours, or 8-9 hours we spent together, right? So sadly, some of you, your known people are suffering from a disease which is really painful, really painful. When it is too much of pain, sometimes that patient that they loses the mental balance. And in a desperation to get some relief, they make a wrong decision. Wrong decision means interfering with the body system and getting even more pain. Right? You are in pain, I understand. But what is the point of disturbing the body? The moment you disturb the body, the body cannot get healed. And here, to disturb the body, there are three ways. One is the vaccination, one way. Second is antibiotic, the other way. Third is the drugs. Whatever drug you may be taking, it may be the blood sugar medication, you interfere with the hormone. In this case, the hormone is insulin. Then the blood pressure medication you take, again you interfere with the hormone. So whenever you take any drugs, you loses this balance, action, opposite reaction. Immunity is disturbed, microbes are disturbed, right? Similarly, whenever you take antibiotic, action, reaction, rest of the two are disturbed. So whenever it comes in your mind, should I or should I not? The answer is always, should not. Very simple, right? In this, these many years of 100 years of medicines, modern medicine, there has not been even a single case where some medication, if you see very closely, from a distance it looks that, I told you yesterday, from a distance it looks that the infectious disease has vanished. But today if I ask you, cancer, is it an infectious disease or lifestyle disease? Maybe you have to think twice. The cancer in the body, there is a microbe connection. If it is a microbe connection, it cannot be solely called as lifestyle. It cannot be solely called as lifestyle disease because there is a microbe connection, right? So our understanding of the disease, if that is not clear, we cannot get the solution. So the first important thing, from a distance it may seem that some medicine has contributed in extending the life, but if you look very carefully, minutely, very closely, then the picture may be totally different, which we tried to understand in last 2 days. But today is more about what we have to do. I'll give you one example to make you understand. For example, the trend in the school today, a small child, routinely he has to take some kind of antibiotic, routinely he will take some kind of vaccination, and okay, he's a small child, he may not be on any kind of drugs for most of the children. But now you see, vaccine plus antibiotic plus especially cow's milk. Here I want you to understand, cow's milk means animal protein. For most of the children, animal protein in the stomach is not digested. Body absorbs it. And when the body absorbs something, it is a food or a medicine. It is a drug, right? For some children, the body is not able to break the protein, digest the protein, but instead, body gives it a treatment of a drug. It absorbs it. And the moment anything is absorbed, even if you took it with the intention it is a food, but the body assumed it is not a food, it is a drug. And the moment you are taking a drug, what is happening? You are disturbing one of the corner. In this case, you are disturbing the hormonal balance. And the moment you disturb one of the balance, action, reaction, right? So people ask me why you say one should not drink cow's milk, because one can drink cow's milk or anything, but it should be a food for the body. If it is not a food for the body, if it is a drug for the body, this means your body is not meant for that particular food. Only thing is that you are thinking it is a food, but in reality it is not a food. It looks like a food, it is sold like a food. Similarly, let me remind you, all kind of refined food is not a refined food, it becomes a refined drug. Because body is partially absorbing it. And the moment it absorbs anything, one of the corner, the hormone gets disturbed, and the moment it happens, the other two corner, action, reaction, it gets disturbed, and the whole homeostasis of the body balance is broken, and this means you are in a trap, what we call as illness. So here, you see, vaccine, antibiotic, and this milk, in this case, it is a drug. If it is absorbed, then overactive immunity, and that leads to autoimmune disease. And when we talk of autoimmune disease, there are so many diseases, and one of them which is spreading very fast among children is diabetes type 1. I want you to take this message and spread in your city. Right? I want your cooperation in spreading in your city. Maybe the problem with the diabetes type 1, those children look like other healthy children only. Maybe your next door neighbor child is a type 1 diabetes patient, but you will never know. Because out of stigma, they will hide that diabetes status, right? They will never tell. Only they know and their doctors knows when the child goes for the school, they give an injection, and when the child comes, secretly they give another injection before sleeping, another dose. That is how it is happening. But diabetes type 1 is much more than what you can imagine. But as a practitioner of health, we can make a change, we can make a difference. What is the difference? The day a child is first diagnosed with high blood sugar, I'm not saying first diagnosed with diabetes, first diagnosed with high blood sugar, or first diagnosed with excess urination. From that day, instantly, instead of giving him insulin, if the child is put on a particular diet, so the track of the life will be totally changed, and within few days, or few days means 3 to 4 days, it will come back to normal, and he is going to lead a normal life. But instead, what is happening, the moment he is diagnosed with high blood sugar, the first thing they do, immediately they put the child on insulin. And that means the child is now lifelong insulin dependent. I call the child is almost a kind of handicapped child. Only thing is he looks normal, but it is also a handicap, because every time they need to eat a food, they have to think how much food I'm eating, what is the amount of carbohydrate, and accordingly they have to adjust and take that insulin. And in the middle, if he thinks that I don't want to eat anymore, but he is forced because he has already taken that much amount of insulin in anticipation of the amount of food which he thought that he will consume. So something which is effortless for us, right? For them, it is a huge task. If not for them, for their parents, it is a huge task. And it is very, very common, very, very common when the diabetes type 1 patients, parents come to me and they are so sad, so broken. Most of them, they say that we want to die. We want to commit suicide. Because 3 times, 4 times a day, pricking a child, that is something which is really, really something emotionally very, very sad, and for the whole family. And at the top of it, they have to hide it. The trend is that they hide it from the rest of the society. So you can save the child, you can save the family by spreading the message. And the message is, the first time the child is diagnosed with high sugar, you have to change the diet, right? From that moment, instead of putting him on insulin. What is the diet? I'm coming to it within few minutes. But this one thing which you can say here, the parents, if you find any parent, the first thing they are taught is diabetes type 1 lifelong dependency on insulin. If the child is on insulin, so no matter what, he has to be on insulin. It is a lie. It is a lie, right? I have several patients, children, those who are not on insulin, they had been on insulin. It is a lie. And the chances that he will never be on insulin is very, very high if from the first day they take the right step. The right step is, instead of putting on insulin, put on the DIP kind of diet, the kind of diet which I'm going to tell you in more in detail. Right? So, and second lie is, beta cell cannot be regenerated. So you see, except some brain cell and some heart cells, all kind of cells in the body, they can regenerate. So what is the exception about beta cells? It can be regenerated. But with this belief, the parents loses the hope, and they are on continuous dependency on insulin. And that is a new kind of handicap among the society. So it is your responsibility now, not just me and my team, because now you also know equally as I know, as my team know, right? So when you go home, I think that will not be the end of this training, that will be the beginning of the training, because now you are in the practicing mode. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now here, you see 3 main dimensions, and if you knowingly or unknowingly disturb one of them, action, the rest of them will get disturbed. This thing we have to understand. So we have to see that anything which may disturb any one of them, we have to avoid that for us and for our children. That stand you can take from today, right? So what happens normally, human brain is not logical. Human being is not a logical being. Human being is emotional being. Emotional being means बाकी लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, what the other people are doing, what the masses are doing, what the people will say, what the people will think, right? We are more influenced by what rest of us are doing. We are not influenced by what is truth, what is correct, what is logical. Logical is okay, but at the time when I've seen many naturopaths, those, they know all this theory, but when it comes to them, they go to the same hospital for which they are criticizing. Right? So we have to come out of it. We have to be having a strength to break that belief pattern. Now, very simple and very important slide I'm going to show. Microbe and immunity. These are the two important things which you have to understand. They are in constant communication with each other. If microbes are friendly, immunity is balanced, right? If the microbes are not friendly, immunity is not balanced. So let me give you one slide to make you understand. You see, this is your stomach lining. This is a stomach lining. Just under the stomach lining, under the stomach skin, this is called dendritic cell. Do you remember dendritic cell? The superstar, right? Oh, police bhi wahi hai aur sara kuch hi wahi hai, right? This is the dendritic cell, and one of the antennae, I call it antennae, it extends out and talks to the microbe. Can you see that? It extends out of the skin and it interacts with the bacteria which is set on the outer lining of your stomach, right? So there is a constant interaction, and based on the feedback given by the microorganism which is lying on your stomach, this dendritic cell, they make the decision. What is the kind of decision? That is pro-inflammation, anti-inflammation. Do I inflame, right? Or do I not inflame? And there is a balance. Balance can happen only when those are friendly bacteria. So the dendritic cell, which constitute of 95% of your immunity, they do not operate on their own. They also depend on the microbe. So this is very interesting. And microbe is something which we can change within few days, which we have understood just yesterday. If that is so, this means even if we had been sick, even if we are sick, there is a hope that we can come out of it. That is a good thing, right? Even if immunity may not be working, but now it can work. Here, if the microbes are not friendly, resistant bacteria, then this means the kind of information they will give to the dendritic cell, they may not be good for us, right? They may not be the kind of information which can keep your body healthy. And if the wrong information is passed to dendritic cell, that is called dendritic cell dysfunction. Means either it will overwork or it will underwork, right? Either it will be overactive or underactive. If it is overactive, different kind of illness. Underactive, different kind of illness. Only when it is balanced, no illness, right? So let's try to understand this. Now you see, here it is very important. I need two of you on the stage. I need two. One, two. You. Yeah, you come. Two. नहीं कुछ चाहिए नहीं. Thank you. Now, please come. They are welcomed with some gift. Wonderful. Come. So, you take this. What happens when you eat something? They are going to demonstrate with this. What you have to do, you just have to open it. Yeah. You closely watch. Okay, great. Great. Now you see what happened. You hold on. He could get the gift very quickly, but still she's opening it. Carry on opening it. Okay. Wonderful. Now, this is, you can open that. So, because here what happened, there was 3 layers of cover. She took longer time. Only 1 layer of cover, shorter time, obviously, right? So, here, go back to the PPT. PPT. So here you see, it is like a food train. When you eat the food travels like the train. When the train passes by, while in the travel, train keeps on stopping in the station, and the passenger keeps on, right, downloading the passengers. So it is like a food train. So here the food, when it travels through this whole track, it keeps on downloading the passengers. Means the particle of the food, right? So food has to travel at a particular speed. So that is the why, for example, grains, the God has covered with many, many layers, right? Outer bran, then inner layer, then again layer, then another layer. Because when it is on that many layer, and then when you eat it, it will travel at a particular speed. Because here you see, while she was opening, there were many layers. So this means she will take a particular amount of time to open it. Whereas you could open it instantly in maybe 1/3 of the time which we spend. So the amount of time it takes to open, that is what happens when you eat a particular food. Your body is opening. It is as if the train is distributing the food train, while it is traveling through the railway track of your stomach, of your intestine, right? So now, but what is happening, that if there is no outer layer, no second layer, no third layer, the food will directly get absorbed, right? As if the whole train, every passenger gets down on the very first station itself, right? The train, all the passengers don't get down on the first station, right? If every station, few of the passengers, they get down. Similarly, when you eat anything, all the food do not get down in one station or in one part of the stomach. While the food is traveling, the passenger, that is a particle of the food, they keeps on distributing in the whole track till the end. And means till the colon, right? Colon before the anus, till the colon, it keeps on distributing. And then this means the whole microbiota of the stomach is having equal amount of food for each of the bacteria. Equal. Now you see, like in India, either people are very rich or people are very, very poor. When such kind of situation happens, somebody is having abundance of food, somebody is having no food at all. Then comes the conflict, then comes the battle, then comes the war. When everybody is equal, the chances of peace will be more. So when you are eating something, after refining it, after too much of processing it, it is like that all the food is distributed in the first station itself, and this means by the time the food should go out till the colon, they don't have anything to receive. And now those are the bacteria, they die. Instead of that, what comes, we call it resistant bacteria, right? So everything when you eat, you ask yourself how it was packed. How it was packed. If you open it too much, this means you are again interfering with it. So this understanding of food science or the food engineering by the God can help you to choose the right kind of food and to choose right kind of method of cooking or not cooking. So, and then you will be more motivated to eat. Thank you. Thank you. So, you see, since the time the refining processing has come is the time when more and more illness has come. Right? So we can but switch off that, we can again transform, because what you want to eat is totally in your control. The only thing is, maybe we do not know correctly that what should be really good for us. So what we do, we look here and there, and whatever is more pronounced, television, newspaper, big hoarding, we think that must be what is correct. And that is the first wrong decision. Now here, if this is not happening, if the food is not equally distributed as designed by the nature, as designed by the God, then what will happen? Your immunity will suffer. Why? Because the microbe which is interacting with the immunity, that microbe is a resistant bacteria. Then two things can happen. Overactive immunity. Overactive means your immunity is always over alert. It keeps on fighting with everything. Right? So that is called immunity, autoimmune. Your body is, your immune system is attacking yourself, right? Attacking your own cells. Or underactive immunity. It is very lethargic, it is not working. That is called immunodeficiency. Immunodeficiency. Your immunity is very poor, it is not ready to fight even if there is some pathogen, and this means more and more pathogen will make your body their home, and that means they will start eating your body, and ultimately you'll get killed. So that is called immunodeficiency. Did you heard of AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome? HIV AIDS, right? So what is HIV AIDS? Here, not knowing what is HIV AIDS can kill a person. HIV AIDS cannot kill anybody, but rather not knowing about it correctly can kill someone. This part is very, very important. I want you to focus here. You see, in India, for every 300 person, there is one AIDS patient. AIDS patient means there is every 300, there is one who is taking HIV medication. Right? In this hall, there is about 1,000 people. There are about 4 HIV patients, and all of them, incidentally, I met also in these 3 days. Right? So, are they really HIV patients? So, it is much more prevalent than what we think about it. Like diabetes type 1, it is all hidden. HIV/AIDS is also hidden. So, here, the understanding of it can help you come out of it. The most interesting thing, HIV, a kind of virus, human immunodeficiency virus, it cannot cause AIDS. You heard correctly, HIV, a kind of virus, it cannot cause AIDS. I'll give you a proof. Thank you. So, if there is one science, it's called Koch postulate. And any disease has to pass through this postulate. Only then we can say this can cause this. Any disease, to prove that this virus has caused this disease, it has to pass through this test. Right? So, for example, H. pylori causes cancer. It has to pass through this test. Only then it can be documented that yes, this bacteria causes this disease. Right? So, let's try to understand this. What is this postulate? This postulate, the first principle is that the person who is suffering from disease, in this case AIDS, and if you say that he is suffering from AIDS because of HIV, this means from his body the HIV should be extracted. Number one rule, right? If you say he is suffering from HIV, you can only claim if you can extract HIV from his body. If there is no HIV inside it, and how can you say he is suffering from HIV? So the first rule is, to establish that X virus is causing Y disease, that virus should be present in the patient first, right? Second principle is, you should be able to take out the virus, culture it outside, and when it is in good quantity, put in another subject, animal, and that subject should also acquire the same illness as the first subject. Getting the point? Right? And once the second subject also gets the same illness, you should be able to take out the virus again. And again, it should be cultured. This cultured virus should be the same X as it was previously found. Now you can say HIV causes AIDS or this causes that. This is for every illness. Whatever viral infection or whatever bacterial disease, they must have to pass through this test. Only then you can say this causes this, right? Now the interesting thing is, since 1982, when it was first HIV word was coined, 1982 and 1984, since that time till today, there had not been a single research paper where it is proven, there had not been a single research paper where it is shown that from the human body, HIV virus could be found. Till now, there is no paper to establish that in a single human, till now, one could find out any HIV virus. First, no paper. Since one cannot extract HIV from the body, till now, so there is no question of culturing it and putting in another body. The question of culturing it and then testing in another body will come only when you can detect a virus, or only when you can extract the virus from the victim. So, the first rule, the first principle only, the first step only, it failed and it is still failed. So nobody could prove till now, there is no paper which can say that yes, we have found an HIV virus, we could take it out and we could culture in a separate dish, and then we have put in other body, and the same body, other body also acquired the same illness. So in the absence of this evidence, you cannot say HIV causes AIDS. In the absence of this evidence, you cannot say this virus causes that disease, right? So, but then why so many people are then detected as HIV positive or something? How it is established? Very simple formula. Look, formula for AIDS. In 1982, it was coined, those who are suffering from tuberculosis, collect them, and give them a particular test. In that test, if it is positive, you say he is a HIV patient. If it is negative, you say it is a tuberculosis patient. HIV is not a new disease. Collection of 12 diseases which were already there. It is said these are the 12 diseases. If you find anybody with any of these diseases, you bring them and test for a particular antibody. If you find that antibody, you say he's a HIV patient. If you don't find, you say he's a patient of this illness. For example, certain kind of flu, right? You come, bring them, and go for this test, right? I have a test strip, right? This is the kind of test. And even in this test, if it is showing red, so it is HIV. Even showing not red, then it is he is a patient of this illness. In 1982, the list was only 12 diseases. 1980, these are the diseases, and 1987, it became 25 diseases. This means it is increasing. And these are 25 diseases. And 1992, 4 new diseases was included, including cervical cancer. This means any patient suffering from cervical cancer, if they pass this test, he will not be called as a patient of cervical cancer. He should be called as a patient of HIV/AIDS. Right? And then in 2008, 2 more diseases was included, and total number of diseases now became 31. This means any person suffering from any of those 31 diseases, they should be gone for this test, and if they find positive, rather than calling that person a patient of those diseases, he will be called as a patient of this disease. So HIV/AIDS is not a new disease, only the old collection of illness and one test is establishing him as a sick of HIV/AIDS rather than calling him a patient of that illness, right? So, and this is a unique approach which is never seen in any other illness. So now here, important thing is, what is this? Here, if you see what is inside the test of putting a blood, seeing a red line, and then we concluding something, what is the mechanism, right? You want to see what is inside, right? So very interesting. Why I want you to know all this? Because I want to take out the fear from you. It is the fear which is selling, right? If you hear the communication of the doctor, what they say, I know how deadly the virus is. I know the suffering of the people. If you see somebody suffering, you will run away, run and you get yourself vaccinated. The fear factor. So the fear, you can escape, you can come out of the fear only when you get the right knowledge. Now, what is there inside it? How the test is done? Now there is a small strip, right? Here, you put the blood. And then your fate depends on whether you see a red light line here or not, right? So anybody want to test? I have few of the strip, right? So you are sick or not is not important. What the strip is saying is important. But what is that inside which makes all the difference? We have to understand this. First of all, here it is little complicated. You try to focus in, right? Whenever any virus goes in the body fights back. For that, body creates some weapons, tools. And those weapons are called, what is called? Antibodies. Body creates some weapon to fight that, to kill that virus, and that weapon is called antibody, right? So if we find any weapon of a particular virus, this means the body might have infected with the virus, only then the body is making antibodies. Are you getting this point? Yeah? It is an indirect test. We are not testing whether HIV is present or not. It's indirect. Like, for example, what happens? There was some kind of conflict, some quarrel, some fighting between the two families, and next day the police investigation team go and they see for the marks. Oh, if there is some bullet, this means somebody might have died also. If there is some gun, this means there has to be some fighting. If there is a stain of blood, this means somebody might have got injured. Getting the point? Right? Trying to see the indirect clue. Right? It is not the direct clue. Direct clue is if you see some dead body, direct clue. Indirect clue is you see some strain, lot of blood, must be somebody has died. Right? Indirect clue, direct clue. So here, indirect clue, if you find some weapons inside the body to kill a particular virus, this means body might have got that virus, only then body will make the weapon. Clear? Clear till now? Now, blood is taken from your body and it is put here, and how to know the weapon is there or not? For that, the virus, a part of the virus, a protein of the virus is in this strip, right? The protein of the virus, it looks like this. Let's say the protein of the virus, not the virus itself, a small protein which is known to be, which is thought to be a part of that virus. Thought to be a part. For example, this is the protein of the virus. The virus is a complete car, but from that car I take one part, right? And it is thought to be the part of that virus. And this is the weapon. Weapon for the body, what is the name? Antibody, right? It is in the blood. It is in the blood. So when you put it, this weapon, if it fits this protein, this means this weapon and this protein is fit. This means this protein belongs to HIV. This means his body might have been attacked with HIV. That's why the body has produced this weapon. This means he is a HIV positive person. Is that making some sense? Able to understand? Right? And important thing, do you remember my first example on the first day? That the people who are suffering from cowpox, they are protected from? Yeah, action, reaction. This means the weapon for the cowpox can also protect you from smallpox. This means 2 bacteria or 2 virus can be killed with one weapon. Yeah? For example, you have a gun. With that you can kill a dog. With the same gun you can kill a tiger also. Right? Same gun. You may not have too many tools. So this test only shows that there was some weapon. And this weapon can kill HIV virus. Right? But it does not mean it cannot kill other virus also. Right? There is a possibility that tuberculosis, the antibody of tuberculosis and antibody of HIV may be the same. The weapon to kill tuberculosis and the weapon to kill the HIV is same. So every time you are suffering from tuberculosis, your body will produce that weapon, antibody, and if you go by the test, there is 1 in 3 chances you may be detected as positive. But that does not mean that your body is having HIV virus. That only means that your body is having some virus which this tool can kill. Right? So these tests are not definite, not sure, but what happens once the person is labeled as HIV positive, then that his life gets shattered. So why I am explaining all this? Because that will clear the phobia and the fear. You have the actual knowledge of how much diagnosis system is reliable. So that's why I'm giving you one example, right? So if you want to know more in detail, because these are not just one test, there are many more tests established. But if you go into detail of every test, you will find some loopholes, right? So there is no concrete way to check or detect that which virus is that. Only thing you can detect is body has attacked by some virus. But should I call it HIV? Should I call it H1N1? There is no clear-cut test. So if you want to know more in detail, so you can read my book, right? HIV/AIDS, the greatest lie of 21st century. In India, it is published by Diamond Pocket Book. International, it is published by Scholarspace, the Europe's biggest publisher. So it is available everywhere online. But if you want to read it free of cost, then you can go to my website, vishwaroop.com/HIV book. So you can read the whole book, and you will not only understand what is the HIV conspiracy, what is the theory, you will also understand the overall business of this virus, bacteria, diagnostic, You will understand the overall thing, and that is very, very important. So here, with this, I want to tell you that the disease is projected to you in a way which brings a lot of fear in your mind, lot of confusion in your mind. Since your mind is confused and full of fear, you cannot see clearly what is the solution. I just want you to come out of that fear. You can see the solution is so simple, it's kept right there. Only thing is you have to adopt it, and you can be free of all kind of, or most of the time, 98% of the illness you can deal yourself. And for 2% of the disease, there is a possibility you cannot handle, but then only one person can handle one, and that is the God, not the doctor, right? So sometime what happens, the person is destined to die. Let him die with peacefully rather than painfully. So that should be the intention. So here I am going to talk of the 98% whose life you can save, and that you can do by adopting this, what I call as goal, the game of life. This you are having right now with you, right? So I have a copy of it. So with this, whatever the research I did, I condensed that whole thing in this one game. Because I understand that if I try to make it too complicated, you will end up getting even more confused. So I try to simplify it. So here it is 3 parts of it. You can refer to it. Goal, game of life, 3 part. Part 1, this part is all about DIP diet. The basic diet is a DIP diet. As you have experienced yourself also, that the DIP diet, it can help controlling the glucose level, the blood pressure level, the cholesterol level. It can burn the fat, it can do so many things. So the first part is the DIP diet. So now this part is very, very important, and it covers more than 60 illness. And for example, let's say a person is suffering from depression, comes to you. How you will make the diet, for how many months you will ask him to follow, and what result he can expect. These are the basic questions which a patient will expect from you, which you expect from yourself, right? So step 1, for all the illness, at least the 60 illness which is here, right, which is more frequent among other illness, for all the illness here, the step 1, the standard thing is the DIP diet, right? Put the patient on DIP diet plus, let's say in this case, the patient is suffering from depression. So here, you have to find, it is 52 weeks, 1 year calendar, right? 1 year calendar. So where is depression? Which week is depression? 49. This means he has to follow DIP diet for 49 weeks to get the result. But even if he has got the result, he has to keep on following for rest of the life, so that he is out of the depression for rest of the life. So to get recovered from illness, the time taken, that is 49 weeks approximately, based on my calculation, based on my experience with the patient, right? It can be 1 week here or there, but approximately that much time indicative time you can give to see a certain kind of substantial result. Follow DIP diet for 49 weeks. But even if you got the result, one thing is very clear: if you want to remain free from this illness, you have to keep on following the DIP diet, no doubt about it. Number 1. Number 2, for these 49 weeks, along with taking the DIP diet, what else you have to do? That what else is specific to that illness? Specific to that illness. And that is, you see, week 49, depression, adopt O. Now comes the role of this part. You see what is O. Sip a cup of, can you see this? Can you read it? Sip a cup of hot water mixed with spoon of honey and 0.1 gram of saffron as the first thing in the morning, right? A question comes, a saffron in small quantity, how it can make a big change, right? So that is what is the science, the true science, right? So only thing is the saffron, it cannot be patented. It is natural food. So even if the result of saffron is there in the research paper, but it is hidden somewhere and nobody is going to take out from the research paper and publish it in the newspaper. Since it is not there in the newspaper, it is not there in the news, so it seems that nothing exists which can help me come out of the depression. But there is one man who can do it, who has done it. What he has done, he collected all the research paper, he took out those material which was hidden in under, and he put it outside for you to understand. And interestingly, that man is here with us today, and he is Dr. Pawan. Can you come on the stage, please, sir? Welcome, sir. You have met him, no more introduction, right? So here he's going to explain all about saffron this time, right? Okay, Mike. Yes, yes. Mike एक और है अभी बाद में चीफ इनका है फिर उसके बाद हैंड दे दो हाँ दे दो Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Smile evening, friends. So we have two issues. One, the disease happens due to two issues: wrong diet and stress and depression. So the wrong diet has been corrected by Dr. Bisharup. I am going to give you a gift now. I am going to prove you. We have so much stress in our lives, we have so much depression. And we say that depression and anxiety can be tackled by meditation. But in today's era, all of us are very fast in our lives and we want something gift, because naturopathy is a divine science and God has given thousands and thousands of plants for us to help. Let's see what is the God's gift for us to tackle stress and depression. About the mental health, number one mental health in the world is anxiety, and the second is depression. In the world, number one country who is suffering from depression is Iceland and Australia. In the southeast, India is the top. India has total cases of depression 5.7 crore, total cases of anxiety 3.8 crore. My God. Percentage of population, for every 103 people suffer from anxiety, and for every 100%, 4.5% suffer from depression, which means if we have 500 people, you can imagine we have 100 people who have stress or depression in their lives. And what doctors give for them, when you go to a doctor, he will prescribe you different antidepressant, tricyclic antidepressant, serotonin selective reuptake inhibitors, serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, monoamine oxidase inhibitors, and newer combinations. And you know, these are so deadly drugs that what are the side effects of those drugs? The side effects, in 37% of the cases, you lose libido. And you think if anybody is taking antidepressant and he is going to lose the libido, what will happen to him? He will become more depressed. And 23% of the people suffer from fatigue, dry mouth, emotional fatness, sweating, forgetfulness, drowsiness, diminished concentration, restlessness, insomnia, GI problems, erectile dysfunction. With these side effects, people become more and more depressed. So this is not the solution. But nature has always given us solution. The saffron, the wonder molecule Mother Earth has made for us. Let's see what international medical journals have to say about it. Saffron. You know, the most potent antidepressant in the world is paroxetine. And the fluoxetine, which is sold in the US market as the number one drug, number one antidepressant by the name of Prozac. Let's compare saffron with fluoxetine. This is a Journal of Ethnopharmacology. They did a randomized control trial comparing Crocus sativus, which is saffron, head-to-head with fluoxetine in the treatment of mild to moderate depression, a double-blind, randomized pilot trial. And you know, they put one group on fluoxetine and one group on saffron. What was the result? After 6 months, this was the result. The white dots are saffron and the black dots are fluoxetine. This is Hamilton Depression Score. At the start of the treatment, both group patients were having 24 points depression. And they put 8, after 6 weeks, what happened? Depression score went to 8 in the saffron group, and fluoxetine, which is the most potent drug in the drug market, could bring it down only up to 10. And no side effects from saffron. Wonderful. Then this is the Journal of Phytomedicine. The psychological and neuroendocrinological effects of the just smelling of saffron. If you are depressed and you smell saffron, what happens? Just smelling of saffron. The result was cortisol. All of you know, if we have more stress, we have more cortisol. If we have less stress, we have less cortisol. So one group of people, they smell some sweet water, and after 6 months, their depression went up. But the people who smelled saffron, daily just smelling of saffron, their depression almost reduced to half. Wonderful. This was the state and trait anxiety score in them. The people who smelled that sweet water, their anxiety score was high, and the people who smelled saffron, their anxiety also decreased. This is one more article on the Alzheimer's disease. Also, this I will not cover. Alzheimer's disease, also saffron group, the conclusion was, in this double-blind placebo-controlled study suggests that at least in short term, saffron is both safe and effective in mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Saffron is a wonder drug for depression. The Journal of Phytomedicine, June 2015 article, it says, saffron has got anti-convulsant effect. Saffron has got anti-Alzheimer's effect. Saffron has got antidepressant and anti-schizophrenia effects. Saffron has got anti-Parkinson's effect. Saffron decreases the neuronal injury and apoptosis. Saffron decreases neuroinflammation. Saffron augments brain neurotransmitter. This is one of the most famous Journal of Phytomedicine, June 2015. My God, wonder drug saffron. And you know, this one more journal again saying, saffron and major depressive disorder, a meta-analysis. The conclusion is, findings from clinical trials conducted to date indicate that saffron supplementation can improve the symptoms of depression in adults in MDD. What is MDD? Major depressive disorder. Not a mild depression. Major depressive disorder saffron can include. This is again one more trial. Saffron appears to have a significant impact in the treatment of anxiety and depression. And you know what is the side effect of saffron? Saffron improves sexual function in men and women. So my God, it is, what was the side effect of all antidepressant? It cures that also. So I think I recommend all of you, saffron, take saffron, whosoever has anxiety and depression, and your disease level will also go down. Thank you so much.
On. Hello. So here, you understand the importance of this part of the game, right? This part is the DIP diet. You have understood the importance of it since you have been practicing it yourself. This part is the one which will direct you to this third part. And the third part, what we have done together, we have found those elements from the nature which is much more potent than the equivalent drug without the side effect, right? So, but for how many days and how many months or how many weeks, for that there is an indication. So, for any illness, here I will just take 10 more minutes to conclude. That's good, yeah. So, for any illness, step 1, irrespective of whatever the illness, DIP diet, and step 2, right, you have to find the illness, which week, and then there is some instruction to adopt certain things from this final sheet. And for certain number of weeks to get a clear-cut result. And once you achieve the result, you can drop this part. You may not continue this part, but you will continue only with DIP diet. So this is strategy for cure and strategy for remain cured, right? Two-step formula. And here. So here, I will end up with one example, which is very interesting. So I put it here. Many people in last 2 days, they asked one question about rabies, राइट? कुत्ते ने काट लिया तो इंजेक्शन लेना है क्या? राइट? वो कुत्ता पागल भी था, अब इंजेक्शन लेना है क्या? राइट? सो कुत्ता पागल था, आप तो पागल नहीं है ना. Let's try to understand logical sense. Thank you. What you know since your childhood, if you can block that knowledge for a while and with an open mind, you look at this problem once again, and then I will ask you, you answer me, right? So if you look back, very early in my childhood, I used to hear, कुत्ते का काटेगा तो 21 इंजेक्शन लेने पड़ेंगे, 21. फिर टाइम आफ्टर सर्टन टाइम बाय 2002 till 2002 we have been hearing 14 इंजेक्शन लगेगा, right? Then it has come down to 5 इंजेक्शन, and then it has come down to 4 इंजेक्शन लगेगा. So you see the trend is dropping. Number of injections are dropping. Why? The vaccine is becoming more effective? Nothing like that, because vaccine is not a drug. It is just a portion of the virus. In this case, the virus is rabies virus. So there is no question that vaccine will work more or less, because here it is not, there is no chemical things. It is just a strain or a part of the main body of that virus inside, which you put inside. Now, here if you read the CDC government oblique MMWR, if you go to the website and you want to know why the number of injection has reduced, the first impression may be the injection has become effective, that's why number of injection reduced. But the truth, as written in this report 2010, the truth is that over the time, the demand of vaccine for rabies has increased and the supply has reduced. Since the supply has reduced, so they are forced to change the protocol, and they changed, okay, now we'll just inject 4. So in the coming days, if it becomes more popular vaccine, maybe only 2 or 3 will be also okay if some dog bites you, right? So this is not a science, it is only, yeah? Quality of the vaccine changes. Okay, we'll come to that. But here, yeah, I also believe quality of the vaccine changes. But here, if you read this report, there it is written, right? I also believe must be quality change, but here it is something else. You go to this, and here it is written why we have to reduce, because demand is more, and we are not able to supply. You can read yourself. That's why I gave you the link so that you read. Otherwise, I know that you will not believe me. Now, can there be a day, I know there is some question, let me complete. Can there be a day when just one vaccine will be enough? This means there can be a day when no vaccine is also enough. Let's try to understand that with open eyes. Again, the same question. A dog has bitten you, but this dog is not having any rabies. So you are bitten, there is a wound, but there is no rabies. It's transferred since the dog is not having any rabies. Do you think that you need vaccine now? Yes or no? No, because the dog could not transfer any rabies in your body, because dog itself is not infected with rabies. So the first case, there is no question of taking vaccine. Now the second case is, dog has bitten you, and dog was a pagal dog, mad dog, full of rabies. This means your body is now full of rabies, right? Now, do you need the vaccine? Some more rabies you want? Already you are full of rabies because of it is a dead mad dog. He made your body full of rabies, but you still want 2-3 more rabies vaccine, virus, right? And then you think that the concentration of rabies virus is very, very high, only then you can get cured. So there is no logic in it. I am not saying rabies will not kill you. This virus can kill you. I am only saying by taking a vaccine, you get some kind of protection. It is not like that, right? By chance you got, what happens mostly, 10 people got bitten. There is a rare chance that the dog is having rabies. Whatever may be the thing, even if you had or had not got vaccine, still you will be alive. But after vaccination, anyway you are going to be alive. Then you think, people think, look, he was bitten by the dog, he took the vaccine, now he is alive. This means vaccine causes him to live longer life. Right? Now, let me substantiate by the proof, evidences. Right? These are the very strong evidences from the respected journal, and these two evidences will make it clear. The first evidence, 2012, and in Amazon, a kind of a place on earth, where the bat are always suffered from rabies, and they often bite humans. And often they transfer rabies to the human. It is very common in that Amazon place, and there rarely people die of rabies, even if they are not vaccinated. Because that is a place which is a rural kind of place, there is no vaccination kind of thing, and they are living. That is a proof that rabies may not kill you. Any virus can kill you if your immunity is not supporting you. That is the question, right? But if you are suffer from rabies and you don't take vaccine, then you are going to be killed. It is not like that, right? And the second, another journal report, and there they proved, clearly they proved, they took the rabies virus, put in the rat suffered from a illness, after a certain time it got cured on its own. So it is a clear-cut proof the rabies will cause you sick, but will not kill you if you have a strong immunity. So have faith in your immunity, don't disturb your immunity, and it will help you to protect you to give a long life, right? So now, thank you friends, thank you. One last slide. When you are on DIP diet, certain things will happen immediately. Your blood pressure will drop, your blood sugar will drop, right? And the moment your blood pressure starts dropping, with the same speed, you have to taper down the medication. The moment your blood sugar is dropping, you have to throw the blood sugar medicine, you have to taper down the insulin. Similarly, for thyroid also, if you don't stop the medication, after a certain time, hypothyroid will become hyperthyroid, right? For acidity, the moment you are on this diet, you have to stop all the drugs immediately which you were taking for acidity, right? For fever, the important thing is if you are having fever, then don't take the medicine, but what you have to do, just you have to open this game of life and see fever, where you can find? Can you find somewhere? Fever, cold, in this? First. So this means any time you are sick, the first thing is you have opened this you understand, DIP diet, then you find the sickness, it is a fever, and in fever what additionally you have to do, and for how long you have to do for fever? 1 week. That is the maximum period of time. Actually, it is 3 days to 1 week. But for maximum, do this along with DIP diet. If you can do it at the most for 1 week, you're free of fever. This means you're free of the virus because of which you suffered from fever, because of which the body had to develop fever, right? So next time, the moment you suffer from something, right, have confidence in yourself. Just open this, or DIP diet already you started following. Only thing is, in addition to this, you have to do certain things extra so as to support your body for certain period of time, so as to come out of that illness. It can be cold, it can be cancer, it can be headache, it can be heart disease. For heart disease, for headache, for cold, for cancer, for arthritis, for thyroid, for as many as 60 or little more number of illness, there is a clear-cut understanding, and now you have understood the power of this third page from one example of saffron. It is not just saffron which is so potent, there are many more small plants which are equally potent. The only thing is their research paper is hidden somewhere else, but now through this, now it is in front of your eyes. So I strongly believe now that this research, right, till today, I used to take for one diet making, I used to make with this principle, right? And my fees, as you know, is 10,000 for one diet, right? So, घर में बात हुई कि अगर ये सब बता दोगे, आपके पास कौन आएगा, right? So that is one side of it. But important is we are in the business of human life, and human life is, thank you. Human life is more expensive than anything else, right? So if somebody will come to me, he is sick, I know I can cure him, but if he don't pay me 10,000, will I cure or not? Still I will tell him, right? So I think that it should not be solely a business. So with this idea, I decided that this knowledge should not be limited to me only. It should be spread through you to rest of the people who are not the part of this auditorium, right? So, thank you, friends. With this hope that once you go out from here, you will start a new journey, first with yourself, with your near and dear, and then you will work little bit to spread it. And let me tell you, whatever I've told you, it is not my invention at all. It is already there in some research paper, right? Except one research paper, I did not write any research paper because already there. Only thing I did is I collected it, Dr. Pawan collected it, and presented it in a form which is understandable, which is reproducible, right? So the credit is not mine, it is not his, it is for everybody, right? So you have to just spread it, let the truth prevail, let the people be healed, let the people be happy, right? Thank you, friends. Thank you. Thank you. After some time. So now, since it is the beginning, what you have to do after this, this is one point connection between you and me, right? In future, we'll be connected. For that, the first important step is, did you get this feedback form? This is very, very important. And one thing I must tell you, this feedback form, I'm going to read one by one, each one by one myself, so, right? Me and my wife, where she's sitting? Yeah. So we took time to read each and every feedback form, right? And we will, in this case, we'll take a time to respond to it personally, either through phone or through WhatsApp group, through the medium. Personally, me and my wife, she's there, right? एक बार हाथ उठा दो. Good, right? So, for us, it is an emotional journey, क्योंकि आज हमें पता है कि हम लोग अकेले नहीं हैं, आप सब भी हमारे साथ हैं, right? And yeah, you have to find here, week 18. Week 18, if you see insulin dependent, right, type 2. But if it is insulin dependent type 1, week 22. So when you look carefully, for 98% of the illness, you will find the solution here itself, right? So what you have to do, the feedback form, after writing, you have to submit the feedback form in the outside in the India Book of Record counter. Get the point? Yeah, those who have not, they will submit it carefully there. And I know there may be, what happens the day when you came, there might not be much questions, but after attending, now the questions are much more than what it was in the beginning of the seminar 3 days back, right? So that is should be the spirit, but I'm limited by the time. So I'm limited by the time. Even if I want to answer, you see, yesterday I answered for 4-5 hours. Today also I spent 4-5 hours with you trying to answer as many questions. But here I have to limit myself. And after every other activity happens, if still we have time, so I'll be with you along with my team. Here is the team. एक बार अपना चेहरा दिखा दीजिए, right? So, so they also know equally as I know, and now you also know substantially as I know. So with this, I conclude this part with a lot of thanks to the organizer and the team here, beautiful team. Dr. Gulab, are you here? Dr. Gulab, Dr. Himanshu, right? If you are here, please come on the stage. And they are the one who
Sir, एक question है, please sir. Sir, एक question है.
Question के उसमें मैं
please sir, एक question.
पहले तो ये माइक से आवाज कहाँ से आ रही है?
Sir.
आवाज कहाँ से आ रही है? Dr. Gulab and Dr. Himanshu, can you please come on the stage for a while, right? Please, sir. So, two very beautiful people in front of me. So, इनकी और तारीफ मैं कर नहीं सकता, but मैं इनको ये जरूर दे सकता हूँ. Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. आइए, sir. आइए. Thank you. I conclude, but this is the beginning, not the end. Aveen.
Sir. Please, sir, एक question.
देखिए, एक इम्पॉर्टेंट बात मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि हमारे पास जब कोई आता है, स्पेशली इस तरह के क्वेश्चन लेके बच्चों के केस में, तो मुझे ये लगता है कि ये तो मेरा ही बच्चा है, अब मुझे क्या करना चाहिए. तो जितनी फिक्र आपको है, आप मानिए मेरी बात, उससे ज़्यादा फिक्र आपके बच्चे की मुझे है. अगर आप एक मेल करेंगे मुझे, तो ये हो नहीं सकता कि मैं इमीडिएटली रिस्पॉन्ड ना करूं और उतना ही मैं उसके लिए कंसर्न ना हूं जितना कि मैं अपने बच्चे के लिए हूं, जो कि वहीं बैठी है. तो चिंता ना करें. अगर तो बच्चे की बात है, तो आपके मेल का जवाब 200% मिलेगा, और मेल का जवाब देने के लिए नहीं, इसलिए मिलेगा क्योंकि वो हमारे ही फैमिली का पार्ट है. लेकिन अभी इतने लिमिटेड टाइम में अगर मैं कोई जवाब दूंगा तो उतना सब्सटेंशियल होगा नहीं. छोटे बच्चे के केस में मैं डायबिटीज एजुकेटर को बताता हूं कि आप उनको डायरेक्टली हैंडल ना करें, क्योंकि दे आर वेरी वेरी स्मॉल. उनके बॉडी में जो टोटल ब्लड घूम रहा है वो कई बार 1 लीटर से भी कम होता है, और उसमें आधा यूनिट इंसुलिन या थोड़ा भी ड्रग डोज ज़्यादा कम होता है, तो इट मेक्स द डिफरेंस बिटवीन लाइफ एंड डेथ. सो वी केयरफुली हैंडल स्मॉल चिल्ड्रन एज दे आर आवर ओन चिल्ड्रन. सो रेस्ट एश्योर्ड सर, आप फीडबैक फॉर्म में लिख दें. अगर फीडबैक फॉर्म नहीं भरा, और वो फीडबैक फॉर्म मैं तो खुद ही पढ़ूंगा, आई विल कॉन्टैक्ट यू. थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू.
धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर विश्वरूप रॉय चौधरी सर। और अब हम इस 3 दिवसीय कार्यशाला की रिपोर्ट प्रस्तुत करने के लिए प्रिंसिपल संत हरदाराम नेचुरोपैथी मेडिकल कॉलेज डॉक्टर हिमांशु शर्मा सर को आमंत्रित करते हैं।
Good evening, friends. It has been long 3 days, or a short 3 days. Long or short?